Hey everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Meredith E. Phillips, and today I want to share with you my top 10 NaNoWriMo tips. This is going to be my 7th year participating in NaNoWriMo, and it's the 3rd year that I have been posting NaNoWriMo and Preptober content on my YouTube channel. I have made a ton of videos in the previous 2 years and earlier this year about NaNoWriMo, tips, tricks, suggestions, things to try out, stuff not to do, etc., etc. And I kind of feel like at this point I've covered all of the major kinds of information that I would want to share with NaNoWriMo newbies, returning veterans, etc., etc. All of those videos, if you'd like to check them out, are linked below in a couple different playlists. So check those out if you want more details or more information about NaNoWriMo and how to approach the challenge. But I myself went through all of those old videos and I've collected what I think are the top 10 tips I could give to anyone participating in NaNoWriMo. Some of these tips are specific for people who are aiming for the official 50,000 word goal. Other tips in here I think can apply to pretty much anyone doing NaNoWriMo in whatever capacity that might be. Let's go ahead and get into the tips, which are in no particular order. So my first tip is to look at your personal calendar for the month of November and see if there are any days during the month which you will not be able to write. So this might include Thanksgiving if you're here in the States and you're planning to see family, if you have birthdays, holiday celebrations, other kinds of things coming up. If you know there's a day where you will not be able to write, count up how many days that includes, and then recalculate the 50,000 words spread over the actual number of days you have to write. So maybe there's 4 days during the month where you will not be at a computer, you will not have the time to do any writing. That means really you don't have 30 days, you have 26. So 50,000 divided by 26 is the actual number of words you have to write each day in order to hit 50K by the end of the month. So take a look at your calendars. Number 2 is to plan when during each day you will have time to sit down and write. You might actually have more time than you realize, but you also might have less time than you realize. So looking ahead, look at your daily schedule and kind of see where you'll be able to fit in writing. Don't make some crazy plan of getting up at 4 in the morning if you're not a morning person. Don't plan to start writing at night at like 9 p.m. if you know that that's your normal bedtime and you're usually tired at that point. Like, that's not gonna work. Maybe it'll work 1 or 2 times, but not on a regular basis for the whole month. So look at your schedule and be realistic about when you'll actually be able to fit in writing time. Number 3 is go to local meetups. This is such a great way to meet new writers, be encouraged, and it's also super exciting this year because we haven't been able to go to in-person meetups for like 3 years now. And I say this as a very much introverted person. Going to these kinds of meetups usually makes me a little anxious and nervous, but if that's you, and I know it can be hard to like make yourself go, but make yourself go if at all possible, because the friendships that you can create there are really exciting, and it's always just good to connect with other writers because this is a very isolating, lonely thing to do a lot of the time, and being around other people for those meetup times can be really encouraging. Number 4 is to push for big word counts in the first week or at least the first couple days of the month. This one is definitely a little more subjective. It might not work for everyone, which is totally fine, but for me, the first week or so is when I have the absolute most excitement, the most motivation, the most energy, the most enthusiasm, and use that. Don't limit yourself. Don't be like, oh, I can only write 1,667 words a day. No. Write as much as you possibly can in those opening days. Do as much as you can in the first week or so without burning yourself out. Like, don't push yourself that far, but like do what you can, because that buffer that you create, the extra that you do, will allow for, days that you're not feeling well, emergency situations that come up, whatever. It just gives you a little bit of a buffer to miss a day or not do as much on a day later in the month. Number 5 is if you get woefully behind, you're aiming for 50K, or maybe you're aiming for some other goal, but you get to halfway through the month and you are just way far behind and you realize you're never going to hit that goal, or you're probably not going to hit that goal. It's okay. Don't stop. Don't completely give up on it. Keep going with your project, even if there's no way that you're actually going to hit your original goal. You can make a new goal, but at the end of the day, like, you're writing and you're making progress. Maybe it's not as much progress as you were hoping for, but it is still progress. So don't completely throw the project out the window when you get behind. Keep going, because at the end of the month, you'll have a lot more than if you stopped halfway through. Number 6 is get a tangible word tracker. If you're using the NaNoWriMo website, there's of course the section where you can update your word count on each day, but I really like having something on my desk that reminds me of what I've already accomplished. So I like printing out just a simple calendar grid with sometimes there's little boxes in it that you can check off for like 500 words, 1,000 words, 1,500 words, that kind of thing. There's a little line where I can write how many words I wrote in that day, and then I can write how many words total I have. And having that tangible reminder right there on your desktop can be really encouraging. It can be a nice reminder, hey, you need to sit down and write today. The NaNoWriMo website is great. They have some cool graphs and stuff that you can check out, but you have to actually go to the website in order to see it. And if you're not logging on to your internet browser, you're not going to see it. Whereas a piece of paper is just sitting there, or if you have it up on your wall on a bulletin board or something, like, it's right there in front of you. So I really enjoy having a tangible word tracker. My 7th tip is to take some time. I know we're kind of late in the month, but take some time before October ends to get life stuff off your plate. So if you have a house project you're in the middle of, if you've got a pile of dry cleaning, if you've got donation stuff you need to take, if you've got other stuff that you just need to finish, you just need to do it. Like, do it now. Do it this last week, this last weekend, okay? Get it done, because you don't want those extra tasks hanging over your head and taking away time when you could be writing. Get all that stuff done now so that November is as free and clear as it possibly can be for you. Tip number 8 is to create a personal goal for yourself that has absolutely nothing to do with your writing progress or word counts. Maybe you want to use the month of November to try to develop a writing routine for yourself. Maybe you want to try just pantsing a novel and seeing how that turns out. Maybe you want to try outlining a novel. You are running out of time to do that. You might want to try paying attention to the parts of the writing process that come really easy for you and the parts that are not as easy, because the parts that aren't so easy could be something that you could work on later in December or next year. Setting an alternate goal like this can be super helpful if you get behind on the official goal that you've set for yourself. That way, at the end of the month, you can still come away feeling like you've accomplished something, that you've met some sort of goal, even if it's not like the NaNoWriMo goals. But if you come away realizing, wow, I did such amazing work first thing in the morning, that's what I need to incorporate more into my regular routine, that's a win. Tip number 9 is to reset your mind, reset your goals if you get into the month and start to become overwhelmed. This is a tip I should have listened to last year, but I didn't because I'm stubborn. But if you get partway into the month and your life gets crazy, if your story isn't working, if stuff is just bonkers, take a step back, reset your goals for yourself. This challenge is supposed to be fun. Really, at the end of the day, it's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be a way to engage with other writers. It's supposed to be encouraging and motivating. And if you don't feel like it's doing that for you, then you can redo it. You can reduce your goal, you can just stop completely. But if it's adding stress to your life that you really don't need in whatever season you're in, then just stop. You can quit entirely, or you can set a new goal for yourself, but don't let this stress you out so that it is just, a miserable experience. And finally, tip number 10 is a tip that I made an entire video about last year. I'll link that below, but it is to figure out your reason why. Basically, just make sure you've asked yourself, why are you participating in NaNoWriMo? It doesn't necessarily have to be a super deep reason, but I do think if you dig a little bit and keep questioning yourself, you will come to a very personal realization about the challenge, about your writing, about the project you want to work on, something. And knowing that really deep reason for yourself can be highly motivating when you get to a point in the month that is challenging. Be honest about that reason. It might be that NaNoWriMo is not the best way to go about achieving the thing you really want to achieve. And that's okay. You can just participate in the month in a different manner. But that reason why can be highly motivating when you're feeling discouraged or you're feeling like maybe you want to quit. If you can write down that reason now and look back on it later in the month, it might be a really good encouragement boost for you. So I hope those were some helpful tips. If you have NaNoWriMo tips that you'd like to share with everyone, please do leave them in the comments below. If you have a video on your channel about just like top 10 tips or anything like that, again, feel free to link that below in the comments. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't already, make sure you click the subscribe button. I post videos on Tuesdays and Fridays, except for this coming Tuesday. I'm not quite sure. It'll be the day 1 NaNoWriMo vlog, and I'm not sure if I'll get it up like really late on Tuesday, because that's November 1st, or if I'll post it on Wednesday, but you know, like generally it's Tuesday, Fridays. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I will see you next time. Bye. And good luck with NaNoWriMo. Good luck with NaNoWriMo! Get all that kind of stuff done now so that November is as... Why is there a gnat in here? Ugh. Kinds of really, oh my gosh, this gnat! Ugh. But, oh my gosh, this effing gnat.